charges, Ruth had pleaded nolo contendere, or no contest, to federal fraud charges involving Mattel Incorporated. She knew the charges could land her in jail, a fate she hoped to forestall with her plea. The Justice Department, however, had other ideas. To them, she was a criminal, a woman who had lied and defrauded people. It did not matter that she was beloved by fiercely loyal employees and the woman who had given children countless hours of fun, or that she had eased the pain and embarrassment of hundreds of breast cancer survivors with the prosthetics she had manufactured after her own mastectomy. For prosecutors, she had committed a federal crime. That crime was all the prosecution and the shareholders who had lost millions of dollars cared about. Ruth anxiously watched Judge Takasugi, hoping the unreadable jurist would be lenient. Before him sat a wife and grandmother beset by illness, beaten down by years of litigation, and terrified she would be incarcerated. How had it come to this moment? Ruth and Elliot had celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary that summer. How had she gone from that time of hope and promise so many years before to this moment of fear and despair? She had conquered so many challenges. She had controlled her destiny, fought for it, gambled with it, but always she had won, until now. Try as she might, she could not find anything in her vast arsenal of talent or charm or brains or guts that could help her. The courtroom fell into a cold, expectant silence. Judge Takasugi was ready to announce Ruth's fate. Chapter 1. The doll nobody wanted. Little girls just want to be bigger girls. Ruth Handler. Ruth Handler could sell anything. In 1959, she arrived in New York for the nation's toy fair, confident that she could sell a new doll she had created. She had been fighting naysayers, however, for 7 years. The doll was a terrible idea, they had told her. As the 43-year-old executive vice president of Mattel Incorporated, Ruth had created an industry upstart in 1944 that was now the third biggest toy company in America. Mattel, based in Hawthorne, California, just outside Los Angeles, was a $14 million business. Ruth, a petite 5-foot, 2.5-inch hard charger with a quick smile and quicker temper, had tripled the size of the business since the start of the decade. With her husband, Elliot, as chief toy designer, she had outmarketed and outmanaged her chief rivals, Louis Marks and Company and Kenner Products. Her revenues would soon exceed theirs. Ruth headed straight for the New Yorker Hotel, where a room had been converted into display space. So many companies came to Toy Fair with so many toys to display that they overflowed into hotels neighboring the main hall. Beds, chairs, and desks were all carted out to make room for elaborate displays like the one for Ruth's doll. Ruth dressed that morning to look sharp and show off her slender waist and full bust. Moving restlessly around the room, she adjusted and scrutinized each 12-inch scaled scene, no doubt thinking about what was at stake. She had ordered a huge amount of inventory from her Japanese manufacturers. 20,000 of her petite-size fashion dolls were on weekly order, along with 40,000 pieces of the various outfits that had been designed to fit the doll's tiny, voluptuous figure. But the cost of moving that inventory onto and off store shelves was not all that was on Ruth's mind. Ruth was also worried about her credibility. She had founded the company, and the men in her mostly male industry gave her credit for brilliance as an entrepreneur. But she had never invented or designed a toy. She also possessed the sometimes irrational optimism that fuels leaders and allows little tolerance for failure. Even though her designers told Ruth many times that making this doll profitable would be impossible, she pushed it through anyway. Ruth lit one cigarette off the last. She barked orders laced with 4-letter words and swiped at specks of dust. Her bravado hid another more personal reason that made this toy important to her. For her, this doll was more than a plaything. She was